Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for the weekend of October 11th, 12th, and 13th, 2013. I am astrologer David Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. While Twerktober is on sale, I have brought it on sale because this is a powerful October. We have eclipses which are coming up, a Mercury retrograde. If you want to put everything together in a really fun and twerky way, check out Twerktober. It's really awesome. Now, speaking of eclipses, I think it's so important to note that the eclipse season is here. We have a big lunar eclipse which is going to happen next weekend in Aries, and this means that we have entered into a crazy and dynamic time period. Whenever you look back at your life and you look around eclipse season, there are always intense moments that really harness karma because our emotions get involved, and the nodes represent a lot of what the moon is about. It's because when the moon does tap into these positions and so forth, this is how you know there's going to be an eclipse. Now, I want to say that all this energy is harnessed now in Scorpio. Mercury and Saturn, which are conjuncting, and they are starting to break apart, but Mercury has entered its shadow period. It's about to fall to a standstill here by the end of next week. So this is the last weekend of forward movement of our minds, trying to cover this Scorpio realm, which is unearthing so many deep aspects of ourselves. Trying to find passions is one thing we described. Another thing is the skeletons in our closet, right? And it's unveiling these weird feelings that are so deep and hidden inside of ourselves. And I think it's important to note that the eclipses are about to highlight all this spot. There will be a big, powerful solar eclipse in November. So, this is an area the universe wants us to pay attention to. This weekend, though, we have the Sun in Libra, which is going to square Jupiter. And knowing this in the background, it's interesting that this is about growth and expansion. When the Sun squares Jupiter, it's a Leo and a Sagittarius not getting along. In many ways, the Sun can be very kind of stubborn, right? Leo energy can be very stubborn in itself. Oh, peace and balance and harmony, all in this Libra energy and relationships and so forth. But Jupiter in Cancer is like feeling comes first, expanding the feelings, expanding your security zones. And the reason why Libra and Cancer cannot work out great is, there tends to be this weighing out in Libra where there's not much weighing out in Cancer. When the crab wants to get underneath the shell, it just goes underneath the shell. It doesn't care who you are or what. Until it's emotionally secure and safe, it will come out and even weigh anything or do anything. And, Libra energy tends to be kind of indecisive and want to look at both sides of the fence, where all this Cancer energy wants is, I want my security now. Boom, boom, boom. It just doesn't even care what anything thinks. It just is like, boom, 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 security, the safe zone. And it's interesting that we're having to find new safe zones in our life in order to find the balance and harmony in our life. And it's hard for us. This weekend it could be maybe difficult if you're not maybe opening up to more options, because take away the signs. Sun and Jupiter means it's time for your awareness to open up more, that there are many more options on your table right now and on your plate. And there's more possibilities than ever, but if you're not looking at them, it can cause discomfortable places. It could cause for you to feel a little bit of out of whack, that Libra energy. And with all this energy deep in Scorpio, of course, the universe is throwing this ugly skeleton in your face of your craziness that you think. And you're like, oh my gosh, this scares the crap out of me. And you're sitting there and you're like, why do I feel this way? Well, a lot of this is just unearthing things. And the heads of these skeletons are popping up. It's very Halloween. It's no coincidence The Walking Dead's coming out this weekend. You know what I mean? As all this energy is in Scorpio, the Sun is going to square Jupiter. It's the expansion that we must step into our lives now. And part of this expansion is Venus in Sagittarius. Venus is starting to come into a trine with Uranus, which is really revolutionizing and really opening things up and opening partnership energy that hasn't been around for the last 2 months, as Venus went through hell, I've been calling it, as that poor little Libra had to go to jail with Saturn there, then it had to square Mars, she got in a horrible fight with the guy, and now she's run out of the whole thing, and wow, the Uranus energy's there. It really opens up. You're going to see relationship energy open up. You're going to see radical, exciting things. You're going to see unpredictable things in relationships that you wouldn't have predicted 2 weeks ago, because when Uranus and Venus start to hook up, woo! And this is starting to build this weekend. But how funny that still the Sun and Jupiter are squaring themselves. So open yourself up. There's more options. Don't get so caught up in that, oh my God, it's got to be this way or that way and weighing it out. Open up. Find new security zones. Very interesting enough, though, Chiron. Chiron's going to start squaring Venus. And even though I'm kind of giving you guys this ahead of time, a lot of this is some really weird energy starting to manifest here with our healing in ourselves, and a lot of this is going to be with what we are manifesting. Are we opening up to what we truly should manifest? Yes, Venus is coming off a square to Neptune, so making sure that our dreams come true, making sure that our spiritual selves come out in our relationships are an important aspect. And that can really be the healing aspect of if you're manifesting or if you're connecting to relationships that are finding a way to heal you spiritually, and that you're not just running in with your GPS off. You know, in many ways, all of our lives right now have to really pay attention to the signs more than ever. Neptune's coming to a standstill in our lives. And when Neptune does this, you really got to start to pay attention more to your GPS than ever. Now this weekend, the moon finishes in Capricorn and comes into Aquarius and makes some nice trines over to all that energy in Libra, but then it will start to square all this Scorpio energy. So a lot of this is as we want to detach from, I'm sure, feelings that have been intense lately. You know, there's this mind that could come in between. As a moon will make a square to Mercury, it will make a square over to the North Node, it will make a square over to Saturn. You know, this weekend, don't let your frustrations, don't let any blocks in your life frustrate you this weekend emotionally, as you could want to rebel or, do anything crazy. Like, the object of this weekend is to open up and to see that you have every option on your table. You're just probably not looking at it, or you're not being optimistic enough. In other cases, some people can be way too over-optimistic. You're not going to see that as much, I think, as people are being exposed. If they are, they're just living in a lie, I'll be honest with you. I think that we're also highlighting where the lies are in our life. That's a good way to look at Scorpio. Where are the lies in your life this weekend, and what can you start to understand with them? Yes, I put up a picture of sex yesterday because it definitely is the only way to, connect that deep emotional energy, that passion that we find. It's the material that's the Taurus realm that the South Node is in that we should not go in. We should go into these deep feelings, which, in many ways we're understanding these deep feelings of what we want. But how to make that actually happen into our reality can be difficult at this time, as we're having to open up now, even when you don't see it physically, even though you know it spiritually. So this really is testy waters, a weekend where there can be a lot of great things, because even though Sun and Jupiter are in a square, I have seen some of the most amazing things happen in the world on squares. So the truth is that there's a whole lot of optimism, there's a whole lot of growth, there's a whole lot of weird energy happening in relationships. Whenever you have Uranus, the most unpredictable shit you could ever think in your life could happen. So pay attention to that, but more importantly this weekend, it is to leave these frustrations. It is to leave these feelings, disconnect from feelings of frustration, disconnect from feelings that are holding you to closed mind energy, or to not expanding your emotions enough to find new comfort levels that you can before, and not to weigh so many things out, especially when it comes to expanding a comfort zone. The main thing is the universe really wants to show us a way to find harmony by, stepping into a position you might not have stepped into before. Because it's amazing to see a crab run on the beach, but it's not when you see them all crabbed up in a shell in the corner and you're like, come on little crab, come out, and they don't come out, and you're like, oh, they don't come out. It's another to see a crab fly across the beach, because they're feeling emotionally free, they feel secure. And that's what the universe is wanting all of us to do in our lives, is to run on the beach and have the sunshine out, and the umbrella and the waves and your copper tone and the little baby's butt and, beep, beep, beep. But how do we all get there right now? We live in our truth. We dig up our skeletons. We become clear them. We clear them. We heal. We open up. We see bigger. We step into positivity. We find courage like we've never found before. And we step into this in ways by seeing what lies we could get rid of in our life, which are maybe even doubts or deep-seated fears that are holding on to a story that they don't need to. And those could be restricting you as well. So this is a very powerful weekend to open up, to see bigger, to, learn to go with the flow, learn to trust your gut, but more importantly, to find out and a test of whether or not you're going to be frustrated when you really don't need to be. Check out my website, inclusiveastrology.com. If you have any questions, or if you want to have a one-on-one reading, I only have, I'll be honest, I think it's 3 readings left. So the first 3 people who book, I'll book you. If not, I can either A, refund you your money, and we can do the reading when I come back at the beginning of November. But thank you guys for all of the support, and get Twerktober. It's on sale right now. I brought it down. So thank you guys for all of your support, and I will see you on Monday.